Hi everybody, how you doing? I hope you've all had a good day. I'm back with another video, and before I go any further, I just really want to emphasize and stress the fact that I'm not an expert. I don't know everything. Um, the only reason I know a lot of this stuff is because I've screwed up many times in the past, and um, I learnt my lessons the painful and hard way, like many of us sadly do. So I'm not an expert. I'm not you know pretending to be a therapist or anything like that. Um, I'm just somebody online who has been through a dark period in their life and managed to come out the other end. Um, and in doing these videos, my motivation, it isn't to kind of, oh, look how amazing I've done or anything like that, because I could lose it all like that. I could lose everything that I've got like that, if um, I'm not doing this stuff, if I'm not trying to stay connected to a higher power, if I'm not trying to reach out to somebody else who's in trouble, if I'm not willing and prepared to do those things, I'll be on my arse in no time. I'll be back gambling in no time, and I know that for a fact. So if people if you're watching these videos and getting something from them, that's great. But don't put me on a pedestal, because I'm not. How can I say it? How do I say it? I'm just as bonkers in in every area. I'm crazy in many areas of my life. Many areas of my life. Um, you know, um, but when it comes to this, um, I've got quite a bit of understanding based upon the experiences that I went through, the pain that I went through, the multitude of mistakes that I made. So if my mistakes and my screwing things up badly, um, and my idiotic thinking can help you can help you find can help you find a solution to your idiotic thinking, um, then we're great. But going into this video, I mean, I've just read a message on a message board online in relation to somebody who's really struggling with their gambling at the moment, and it's just tough, man. It really is difficult to read. And the thing is, I mean, I'm not I'm not here kind of championing the fact that I'm gonna help everybody get sorted from gambling, and that's just crazy nonsense. That's not going to happen. Um, you know, uh, I've got to rely upon a higher power to keep me in check. And many gambling addicts who have found recovery also have to rely upon a higher power to keep them in check. So this isn't anything that you benefit from. Um, Credit that to my higher power. You know what I mean? Not to me, because it's my higher power that is enabling me to do these videos. So going into this video, the guy starts off by saying, "I don't know what to say." They go on, "I'm a university student in the second year who's wasted a lot of their student loan gambling. I've actually been able to get by spending less until my next loan, but I'm now in my overdraft with payments piling up. I've tried to quit several times, and each time I just gamble again, losing more. I'm using gambling blocking software, um, but I've found sites that aren't covered, buy the gambling blocking software, and I end up losing money through them. I'm scared that this will happen again in the future. Willpower alone will not get me through this. I know that and need to find a way to stop forever. This incredible insights this guy has got already. I need to find a way to stop forever before I damage my relationship with family and friends anymore. I feel as though I'm helpless, and this will be my life. So this is a really, really powerful. It's only a few sentences, but there's so much in there. You know, I've tried to quit several times, and each time I just gamble again, losing more. I've tried relying upon gambling blocking software, but I've found ways around it in order to gamble. I'm scared that this will happen again in the future. So the person knows that there's a very, very good possibility that this is going to continue to happen. But I think the thing that really kicks it here is he understands willpower alone will not get me through this. That's remarkable. That's incredible. That's an incredible insight. An incredible insight to have, for somebody to have that insight. It's like to know that my willpower can't get me through this, won't get me through this. But even more profound is the person says, I know that I need to find a way to stop forever. I need to find a way to stop forever. So he's not talking about stopping for a day, a week, a month, or what. The person understands. This person understands that it's need to find a way to stop putting on that first bet. It's almost as if he's there, recognizing the powerlessness and of his situation. I feel as though I'm helpless. This will be my life. Sadly, many of you will know. I mean, if our gambling develops into an addiction, it's a whole different ball game. It's a whole different ball game. The terror of gambling addiction, gambling when you don't want to, not knowing why you're doing it, trying everything you can possibly conceive and think of to stop it happening again, and failing every time. These are some experiences that we all go through. And this is why with the 12-step program, we go a completely different avenue. We've tried everything else. We've got to the point where we know that our willpower doesn't work. Nothing we do can prevent ourselves from relapsing, because we don't know when we're going to relapse. All we know is that it's going to happen. So if we don't know when it's going to happen, but we know that it's going to happen, how can you guard and defend yourself against it? So again, talking about the steps. It's like what we're doing in through seeking a higher power. We're seeking a higher power that can take care of the gambling issue for us. To take responsibility. It's like give the responsibility for staying gambling free to a higher power. Just give it to the higher power to sort out. What our responsibility is connecting to that higher power that will do that for us. So I've talked quite a bit about the first three steps, and it's so fundamental. It's like those first three steps, that information, and it sounds like he really understands in the core of his being that he's in trouble. I know I need to find a way to stop forever. Willpower alone will not get me through this. That's remarkable because a lot of people think, well, if I just don't do it, if I give somebody else responsibility, if I let somebody else look after me money for me, yeah, it might work, but why do you want somebody else to take responsibility for your gambling addiction? Why not? Why would you give that responsibility to your wife or your partner or your parents? Why? It's not fair on them. It's not fair on them. With a high, and plus they can't be with you 24/7 because we're quite ingenious. We're quite ingenious of finding ways and means to get money. To be honest, you could have my wife could have all the cash cards or whatever, and I'm sure I could find ways. I'm sure we've all done that. We all find ways and means, if we're in that zone. Start selling jewelry, start selling things in the house, start stealing. These are just giving somebody control of your finances. It really does. And people, you might say, "Oh, I would never steal." Really? A lot of gamblers who have gone down that path and entered into criminality will have said the same thing. We don't know where addiction's going to take us. But one thing is for certain, that it's never going to, as long as the addiction's active, there's never going to be a positive outcome. So in order to find the freedom, what we need to do is connect with a higher power as quickly as possible. Now a lot of people pray. A lot of people pray to a higher power. But why not forget the prayer? Why not act? I'm doing this in order to connect to a higher power. I'm doing this in order to experience a higher power within my life. Because we can all sit there. We could all sit there and pray and stuff like that. But we've got to put action in. We've only got a limited period of time between sprees. You could go on a gambling spree, and you could come off a gambling spree yesterday, and you may be back on another gambling spree tomorrow. So every time the gambling spree stops, there's a limited period of time before the next one, before the mind twists and flips and sends us off on the next one. So how we get connected to a higher power is through our actions. What do we do? What do we do that will connect us? Well, we go through the remainder of the 12 steps, and they talk about faith without works is dead. in recovery circles, they use this slogan: "Faith without works is dead." So we can sit there and pray till the cows come home, but if we're not going to demonstrate, if we're not really going to demonstrate our they talk about seeking the solution with the desperation of a drowning man. We urge you to seek the solution with the desperation of a drowning man. That comes from one of the recovery texts. So if there's a solution there for you, and all you've got to do is write a step 4, do a step 5, and go through the rest, why aren't you doing it? If that's the solution, like they say, rarely have we seen a person fail who's thoroughly followed our path. So if we're in that position, like this gentleman is, or lady or gentleman is here, and recognizes that willpower alone is not going to get us through it, and being terrified, knowing that this gambling spree is going to keep on coming and keep on coming and keep on coming, and it's going to get worse and worse and worse, feeling utterly hopeless, utterly terrified, utterly consumed by gambling addiction. If we're in that position, why not? When in that position where we know that things aren't going to get any better, why don't we start looking at a solution that's freely available to everybody, and that's helped hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of people worldwide overcome their addiction, whether it be to alcohol, whether it be to drugs, whether it be to gambling. You know, the 12-step recovery program is there for everybody. It's there for everybody, and the reason why it's one of the most successful, because it works. It works, but you have to work it. I mean, you know, you hear sometimes some people say, "Oh, well, I've been to GA and it didn't get on. I didn't get on with it." Well, what do you think GA is? Going in a room and sitting in a chair and whinging and moaning? No, that's not GA. GA is the 12-step program. The 12 steps. That's GA, the program. So you got two things. You got the program and the fellowship. Fellowship alone, just going to meetings and sitting on a chair, you know, listening to war stories and people talking about how bad their gambling was and this, that, and the other. Keep coming back, you'll be fine. You won't. The 12 steps are the program of action which has to be taken in order to get to the good stuff at the end, where you feel that new sense of freedom, where you know that your gambling addiction is taken care of and you don't have to worry about it. The only thing you have to worry about is staying connected to a higher power. Simple. And that's where, you know, I see so many gamblers suffering needlessly. It's painful to watch. It's painful. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. Addiction's rife. It's rife throughout the world. Again, whether it be gambling, alcohol, drugs, you know, addiction is rife. People's lives are being destroyed. Kids are losing their parents. Partners are losing their husbands and wives. You know, mothers are losing their sons and daughters. You know, it's horrendous, but there is a way out. There is a way out. And if any of you have an understanding like this guy has, I urge you to find somebody who will take you through the 12-step recovery program and allow you to find the freedom that you deserve. You know, if you go to a meeting and you sit there and like listening to somebody, you know what I mean, just talking or whatever, moaning about, because this is it. It's like GA isn't group therapy. The 12 steps aren't group therapy. You know, they're for people who can't help themselves. They're for people who are helpless and hopeless. If you're helpless and hopeless, the 12 steps are perfect for you. Perfect. And will work if you go through them. You know, but a lot of people have reservations and think, yeah, but it might work for you, it'll not work for me. You know what I mean? How do you know if you've never tried it? Now, I'm not talking about anything that I've never done. I mean, I've been through the 12 steps numerous times, numerous times, and had it drilled into me, because I needed that. You know, people knock the fellowships and knock the 12 steps, but usually people who haven't actually done the work, the program. You know, the program is the essence of the 12-step fellowships. Just going to meetings and sitting down and having a cup of tea, you know what I mean, talking about how bad your gambling is. That's not gonna do anything for you. You know, what we need connected to a higher power, so that those times when that thought arises within our mind, oh, I wonder whether yeah, I might put 20 quid on or something like that. The higher power goes, bang, no. That's how it works. That's how it works. And I know it sounds crazy, but that's how it works. That's how it works. The higher power acts as the bouncer. The higher power acts as a doorman within your mind. When that thought arises, the higher power will sort it out. Trust me. That's the higher power's job. I can feel these videos starting to go in a different direction. Yeah. They're starting to go into a different direction. I mean, I don't plan these videos. I come on, I say a few prayers or whatever before I come on, and come in front of me video camera or whatever. I'll say a few prayers, and you know what I mean. It's like really help me to say something that can be of use to somebody. Help me to clear out my own ego, and just help me to be of use to somebody, particularly the gambling addict who's still suffering. So I never know where I really never know where these videos are going to go. They're not scripted or anything like that. It's just, you know, me talking, and any inspiration that comes through, credit that to my higher power. You know, anyway, take care.